We shall overcome. We shall overcome someday. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe we shall overcome someday. We'll walk hand in hand. We'll walk hand in hand. We'll walk hand in hand someday. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe we shall overcome someday. We shall all be free. We shall all be free. We shall all be free someday. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe we shall overcome someday. We are not afraid. We are not afraid. We are not afraid today. Ain't that the truth? Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe we shall overcome someday. We are not alone. Nope, we're legion. We are not alone. We are not alone today. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe we shall overcome someday. Happy Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Happy Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Yep, we shall overcome. We gotta overcome. We're gonna overcome because we have no choice. Unless you don't want to, and then you can stay in the basement with your dog branded in your fucking diaper. Anyhow, that was We Shall Overcome, traditional spiritual, and that was a Pete Seeger version. Pete Seeger, I found versions by Pete Seeger, Joan Baez, and even Roger Waters of the Pink Floyd. But this was the one with the chords that I liked the best, and it reminded me the most of my first grade teacher playing guitar, sing-along, right before nap time. Anyhow, shout out Teresa. And so this is based on a song called I'll Overcome One Day, written by a guy named Charles Albert Tindley, who was a Methodist minister at the turn of the last century, the previous century before last. So, he was born in 1851. In fact, his dad was a slave, his mom was free, so he was considered free. And he wasn't able to go to school because everything was fucked up back then. And that's why we celebrate Martin Luther King Day, never forget. So he actually would ask people to tutor him and teach him things, and he learned Hebrew and Greek via a correspondence course with a synagogue. Anyway, he ended up founding one of the biggest Methodist congregations on the East Coast in Philadelphia. And he was also a renowned gospel writer. He's considered a father of American gospel. Charles Albert Tindley. Now, Pete Seeger, he is a folk singer and social activist. And he was born in 1919, died in 2014, just recently. And in the 1940s, he was a regular fixture on radio. And then he joined a group called the Weavers, or formed a group called the Weavers. In the 1950s, who had a big hit with the Lead Belly song called Goodnight Irene. He also wrote lots of classics such as Where Have All the Flowers Gone? If I Had a Hammer, and Turn, Turn, Turn. And these were covered by Where Have All the Flowers Gone by the Kingston Trio and, oddly enough, Marlene Dietrich. And she did a version of it in English, German, and French. I don't know if it's all in one song or 3 separate recordings. I'm curious to hear that. If I Had a Hammer was popularized by Peter, Paul, and Mary, those hippies. And also Turn, Turn, Turn. We do turn, turn, turn. Oh, I got to learn that one. By the Birds. Anyway, he got put on a blacklist, his group, the Weavers, so they were out of commission because they were brought before the House Un-American Activities, and he refused to incriminate himself by refusing to answer questions. And this is what he said. He said, "I'm not going to answer any of the questions as to my associations, my philosophical, political, nor religious beliefs, or how I voted in any election, or any of these private affairs. I think that these are very inappropriate questions to be asked, especially under such compulsion as this." Apropos, huh? Compulsion. So, that's the story there. Now, you can look here. Here's the painting, my most recent painting that I just finished. It's called 98-100 Rue Oberkauf, or as I like to say, 98 Rue Oberkauf. That's very nice. You can see some detailed photos of it on my Instagram, where you can go and check that out at electricpod, all one word, written in English, on the old gram of Instas. So I'm quite like how this turned out. You see that? It's acrylic on collage paper. I took these old books and pasted them on the paper like I find a book like this. Excuse me. There's all these book exchanges that I come across in our neighborhood. So then I take these old yellowed pages and glue them down onto a piece of paper and then sand them. And that's how you get some of the text coming through on both sides. If you can see, some of the text is inversed and overlaid. It's quite a fun effect, I think. Anyhow, hope you're all enjoying your day. I don't know if it's a holiday in the United States. It certainly isn't one here in the People's Republic of France. But never forget, we shall overcome. We shall overcome. We shall overcome someday. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe we shall overcome someday. We'll walk hand in hand. We'll walk hand in hand. We'll walk hand in hand someday. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe we shall overcome someday. We shall all be free. We shall all be free. We shall all be free someday. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe we shall overcome someday. We are not afraid, nope. We are not afraid. We are not afraid today. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe we shall overcome someday. We are not alone. We are not alone. We are not alone today. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe we shall overcome someday. All right. Happy Martin Luther King Day, Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day. And remember, fight the power, never give up. Sic semper tyrannis. May the force be with you. And I have a dream.